going over social interactionism, which is a theory of language acquisition. Social interactionism theory is the idea that children are the most successful in learning English when they're involved in meaningful interactions and conversations with each other. There are a lot of different facets of this theory, but three of the most important ones are scaffolding, collaborative learning, and interactive environments. Scaffolding is when educators and more advanced peers help to support the learning and progress of English language learners. So this could be teachers or kids in the student's class that are more advanced in English, and they're basically just there to help them learn better, and they're able to support them and make them the most successful that they can be. Collaborative learning is super important in social interactionism due to the fact that this is about communication, so we need to allow the English language learners to learn and communicate alongside their peers. Interactive environments kind of go hand in hand with collaborative learning because it's the idea that the theory is executed well in a classroom that embraces interactive learning such as role play. So we want to make sure that we are creating the most interactive environment as possible because this is about communication, so we need to make sure that the students are practicing communicating in the classroom. This theory is very important to practice in the classroom because it allows English language learners to practice their grammar, hold a conversation, and learn how to quickly and accurately respond. The conversational aspect is so important for an English language learner to understand, but it will take time and repetition. We need to realize that when a lot of these English language learners are starting in an ELL program, they speak virtually no English, so we need to make sure we're patient and we're giving these students pieces of information slowly, and we make sure that they are fully grasping the information before we move on to the next step, because communication is so important and they need to be the most successful that they can be in communicating in English. In saying that, it's important that we use scaffolding strategies like pre-teaching vocabulary and using visual aids. So we're going to be beginning the lesson now. The next slide that you're going to see is a picture of a video. It's just pretending that I'm showing them a video, so it's just a picture. Okay, class, so today we're going to go over the different types of verbal communication, or how we talk to each other. Before we start, I want to ask you a few questions. Think about how you talk to your friends. What kind of words do you use? What tone do you use? What about when you're speaking to one of your parents' friends, or someone at the grocery store? Are all of these interactions the same, or are they different? Exactly. We all speak in different ways and use different words and tones depending on who we're speaking to or what we're speaking about. Today, we're going to be learning about the different ways we speak to different people in our lives and what those different types of communication mean. Sometimes we talk to people in a more light-hearted and fun way. Can anyone think of a time that we may talk in that way? Yes, talking to our friends before school is a great example. Great job. Other times, we may have an interaction that's more serious and heartfelt. When might we be in that situation? Does anyone have any ideas? No? That's okay. How about when your best friend tells you that they are glad to have you? That's pretty serious and heartfelt. Sometimes we even have encounters where things are serious and we need to be direct. Does anyone have any examples for this? Yes, getting in trouble with your parents could be an example of this. You all did a great job of helping me think of different examples for communication situations. And we're going to be going over how to learn about all these situations today. First, we're going to start with a short video about our new vocabulary. Now that we're a bit more familiar with the vocabulary, let's go over their real definitions. So our first word is meaningful. This means communicating something that's not directly expressed. Our next word is conversation, which is a talk, especially an informal one, so like casual, between two or more people in which news and ideas are exchanged. Our third word is respectful, which means showing kindness, consideration, and care for others' feelings, rights, and opinions, even when you disagree. It involves polite and considerate behavior, such as using manners, being a good listener, valuing diverse viewpoints, and acting in a way that demonstrates regard for a person's inherent worth. And our last word for this lesson is assertive language. This is a communication style used to express opinions, feelings, and needs directly and clearly, while still respecting the rights and perspective of others. It's the balance between passive, which is not expressing oneself, and aggressive, which is disregarding other people's rights, allowing for clear boundaries to be set without causing conflict or resentment. I know that was a lot of information, so we're going to take this slowly to make sure you guys fully understand what all of these words mean. So I'm going to go over some examples with you. We're going to start with the word meaningful. Some meaningful situations would be a heartfelt interaction between you and a loved one, or a speech at a graduation, or even a eulogy. A conversation could be a talk between you and a friend. It could be an interaction between you and a coworker, or even a phone call with a relative. A respectful interaction involves actively listening even during an argument or even a disagreement. We need to always be using appropriate language in a respectful situation and show empathy. Any interaction that we have should be respectful regardless of who we're talking to or what we're talking about. And finally, a situation where we may use assertive language could be expressing your needs in a meeting with your boss or explaining your perspective to a partner. So where would we use this type of communication? So for a little extra practice, we're going to be using a graphic organizer to figure out which situations we would use different types of communication. For example, we're going to split the category into a friends section and a school principal section. We'll also have a section for words that may apply to both. So I'm going to call out a different type of communication, and you're all going to tell me where you think it belongs. We need to know that this might not be exact, but it's our best effort of trying to figure out how to communicate with others and which situation the communication style is most needed. If you're confused or make a mistake, don't worry. We're all here to support each other while we learn. Let's start with assertive language. Where do you guys think that would best fit? Remember, assertive language doesn't mean you're being rude. It just means you're expressing your own needs while listening to the other person as well. Good! I think an interaction with the school principal would definitely include assertive language. How about the word meaningful? I think you're right. Meaningful interactions are often had between friends. Next, we have conversation. Take your best guess as to where you think this word belongs. Remember, a conversation is more casual and informal than a discussion or a meeting. Great job! Okay, now our last word we're going to use is respectful. Who do you think we should be respectful with? So I agree that we should always be respectful when speaking to our principal, but remember what I said about respect. It should always be shown no matter who you're talking to. So you think that could maybe be used when you're talking to a friend too? Good job, everyone. You all did great. That was a great exercise and you all did very well. So now we're going to be doing a few more practice exercises. I'm going to give you a fill-in-the-blank activity. So I'm going to start a sentence and you're all going to fill in the blank. Does that make sense to everyone? Great, let's start. So here's your first sentence. My grandma called today and told me she loved me. What she said was very blank. Does anyone have any ideas of what word could fit in that blank? That's okay. Let's go over our words one more time so we know what we have to choose from. Our words are meaningful, conversation, respectful, and assertive language. What word do you think fits best in this first section or first sentence? I'll read it again just so you guys are clear on what the sentence is. So the sentence is, my grandma called and told me she loved me. What she said was very blank. What word do you think fits in that first sentence? Yes, meaningful. Great job. Now let's do a second one. Your second sentence is, I had a disagreement with my friend today, but I made sure that I was still being blank. Yes, respectful. Great work. You all did really well in the fill in the blank exercise. Do you think you're ready to continue on to the next step? Okay, great. On to the next lesson. So it seems like you all have a pretty good handle on your new vocabulary words. So now we're going to do another activity. This time I'm going to tell you a short story, and I want you to tell me if the people in the story were using respectful and meaningful communication or disrespectful and unimportant language. Just to make sure everyone's on the same page, disrespectful is the opposite of respectful. So it means like being unkind and rude and not valuing other people's opinions or their communication. Does that make sense to all of you? Okay, then let's start. So your first sentence is going to be, Sam and Jim were arguing on the playground. Sam would not let Jim express his opinions, and Jim started calling Sam names. What kind of communication do you think Sam and Jim were having? Right, Sam and Jim were being disrespectful towards each other. So that was not respectful or meaningful or important language. Your next sentence is going to be, Sally and Sarah were best friends. One day, Sally told Sarah that she loved spending time with her and she really valued her as a friend. What kind of communication was Sally using to speak to Sarah? Yes, she was meaningful and respectful. Exactly. Okay, and then I have one more story for you. So your third story is, Bob and Tom were out fishing. Bob caught a huge fish, and Tom told him that he was proud of his accomplishment and he was happy for him. How did Tom speak to Bob? Yes, Tom was respectful to Bob and said meaningful things about his accomplishment. Great job. So you all did a great job with all of those activities. So I think you're ready to take the lead. I'm going to split you up into 3 groups and assign you different types of communication to demonstrate. Does that sound good? Okay, so all 3 of the groups are going to demonstrate a situation where a friend needs advice. 2 of the groups are going to be acting out in a respectful and meaningful interaction, and 1 of the groups will act out a disrespectful and unimportant interaction. Does that sound good? Okay, great. So the 6 of you are going to demonstrate a respectful and meaningful interaction. The 6 of you are going to be disrespectful and unimportant and rude language. And then the 6 of you are going to demonstrate another respectful and meaningful interaction. Do you all understand what you're going to be doing? Great question. So yes, I want you to all work together so all of you have a different part in the demonstration. So I want you to all demonstrate your knowledge of the communication styles. Good question. Any other questions? Okay, so let's start. Okay, everyone. It looks like you've all finished up your demonstrations, so now you're going to show me what you came up with. Group 1. Go ahead and tell me or show me your demonstration of what a respectful and meaningful conversation is when you're giving a friend advice. Great job, guys! You just demonstrated a caring interaction with positive advice and encouragement. Just make sure that next time you are being respectful by letting the other person speak and finish their thought before starting to talk over them. Overall, though, you guys did a really great job. Group 2, let's see your demonstration of a disrespectful interaction when you're giving your friend advice. Great job! You used disrespectful language by telling your friend that their problem was not important and you didn't want to help them. That was a great example of being disrespectful. But I hope no one of you in this class ever uses that kind of language with a friend. You want to make sure you're always respectful to everyone. Okay, now group 3, I want to see your example of being respectful. Great job! You all did a really good job and you were kind and understanding, and you also were making sure to let your friend know that you were always there for them to support them. Great job! So that's the end of our lesson. You all did really great. We started off just by learning our vocabulary words and finding out which situations those words fit well in. We learned about 4 different types of communication, and you guys were able to demonstrate your knowledge to me, and you all did super well. So I'm very proud of all of you guys.